talk about um, where do you start from? You know what your color is, so what do you start from? You start from what I call in chapter 2 a DOS plan. That is, D stands for debt, and O stands for ownership, E stands for earnings, and S stands for spending. So, and those two plans are divided into two. The DOS plan is divided into two. The first part is the D and the O. That's the debt and the ownership. You should take, perhaps when you get home tonight, try and do this. And try and do it, a couple of times. Take a piece of paper and write down what you owe on the first column. Who you owe it to, how much is it that your balance is. Don't be afraid, that's the worst that can happen. And then on the other side of the paper, write down what you own. Now, we need to be very clear about what you own and what you don't own. If you probably own some shoes nobody wants to buy, that shouldn't make the list. When I say what you own, I mean what people can actually buy. Like, for my Nigerian people, if you own a lace, like wrapper and top that you already made custom to your size, nobody probably wants to buy that, however expensive it is. So now put on the side the value of what you own, and you can then see, how do you find the value of what you own? For example, if you own a car and it's a car note, that you're paying on that car, do you put that under what you own, or you put that under what you owe?
Both.
You're owing on it. It's not an asset.
No, you can't.
It's both.
The most important thing is to decide what's going to happen if you can't pay for the car. Okay. But okay, so now it should be both. But it depends. If you're like my brother there and you own this nice fly BMW, that is pretty cool. Now, if your note on the BMW is $60,000, and if you were to trade in the lowest possible amount you can get for that car, if you were to trade it in and it's $30,000, see what it's going to do to that scale. So you put it both there. On the part of what you owe, you put $60,000 because that's what really you owe. On the part of what you own, you put $30,000. Because if you were to sell the car, you have to come up with an additional $30,000. So you see, or if you own a house, for example, and in this market where most of us, the house values are not really working out in our favor, do you put that in what you own or what you owe? Again, it's both. And if your house is probably like mine, where I owe like $250,000 and the house is probably worth like $210,000, you see where it's going to tip the scale. So the end goal is to look at eventually and say, eventually you're going to look at it and say, if the value of what I own is bigger than the value of what I owe, I'm good. If the value of what you owe is bigger than what you own, there's a problem. And the reason you got to this point, does anybody know why you got to this point? Does anybody know?
Lack of planning.
Mm-hmm. Any other reason how?
Taking a wrong decision.
Mm-hmm. How do you land, in this place?
Because you are a red color.
Oh. No.
Sometimes
No.
indiscipline.
Well, it's a combination of sorts. If you're red, you definitely will be there. That's where you'll be. But now this leads me to the second half of the DOS plan, which is the E and the S, the earnings and the spending. So when you get to this second half, and I'm going to link both of them in a short while. So when you get to this second part, and you put every month, every single month, what you earn from your salary, from your business, or please just make sure that it's something that you earn regularly. You know, not like, you know, you're going to hit your mom up or your daddy up or your sister up for some money. No, this is like regular stuff that counts. You put it there, then put what you spend money on the other side. Everything, cable, restaurants, gym membership, and everything else. If what you earn is more than what you spend, is that good or bad? It's good. If what you spend is more than what you earn, it's a problem. And now, the reason why you get to the point of owing more than you owe is because you consistently spend more than you earn. Because what happens, okay, so if I make $1,000 at my job every month, and when I add my rent, my cable, my everything together, it's $1,500. Where does the extra $500 come from?
Credit cards.
So, and the credit cards go up to the first half of the DOS plan, what you owe. So every month you keep carrying this $500 up and up, you keep pushing it up to that first half of the table. And eventually your scale looks this way. The debt is up, and you look at the credit cards. How many people have ever looked at their credit card balances and been angry and remembered how they got there? Like, do you even, yeah, like, you know, what did you spend the money on? How, you can't remember. Shoes. You probably cannot remember. And what happens is that every month, if you're consistently doing that, your scale keeps tipping to, you know, a very horrible place. And you end up, you know, a red. And you're confused, and people are calling you, and you don't know what to do. So what do you do if you find yourself in this situation? If you find out that, you know, you are earning, you know, and spending more than you earn, what do you do? The most important thing to do is to assess what you're spending money on. Of all the 4 portions of this plan, the most important part is the spending part. That's where many of us get into trouble. What we spend money on. What do you, like, if you are earning money and every single month your paycheck goes to a 0, there's a problem. Last year, I decided to check how much I spent on cable TV. And because I travel a lot, so I don't really watch the cable. And I decided to check how much I spent. I realized that I spent almost $2,400. So I'm thinking, something I don't watch, really? But think about it, you can very well spend $2,400 on cable. So you have to go line by line and check, what is it, you know, is this thing useful? You might look at your list. Honestly, you can look at your list and see that everything is useful, everything is important. It's true. Everything can look important to you. You know, dining out every Friday in Georgetown might look important. Going on vacation, especially if you're yellow, going on vacation can look really important. I'm like, seriously, do you want me to die? I walk home. I work so hard, so why should I, you know, not even go on one single weekend of vacation? But seriously, everything is about proper planning. Somebody said planning, you know, recently. It's about proper planning. And what do I mean by proper planning? If I decide that vacation is what is most important to me, then I can take something else. I can take gym membership out of my budget because I can run on the streets perhaps. Or I can do some free YouTube videos in my house because I want to take that $180, put it aside every month so that I can go on vacation. But you have to make those decisions, and you cannot make those decisions without really looking seriously and critically at what you spend money on. Many of us are afraid of looking at what we spend money on. I see some people nodding. We're afraid. It's like, you know, it's like sometimes you're looking in the mirror and like, oh no, this is not working out. But seriously, you have to look at it. Another way that you can consistently spend less than you earn. Does anybody know? Another sure way.
Earn more.
You can budget. If you have a budget,
You said
budget.
budget. That's
Yeah.
great. Does anybody know another way you can consistently earn more than you spend?
Spend less.
Spend less.
Yes. Taxes? You shouldn't pay the taxes? Oh, okay. Yeah, good. Savings. That's the magic word. Haven't you ever had a time in your life when you know, it's like the whole world was just against you? How were they against you? You woke up one day, you're tired, just decided to, burst. You went there, they said, no, you have to change the entire 4 tires. You're like, seriously, $300 or whatever. Next thing you're still trying to get, over that, you get, like some email, like something else is due, and it looks like everything just keeps pouring down at the same time. If you don't have savings, where are you going to fund all those things from?
Credit card.
It looks like credit card might be the next gun debate at some point. Everybody's pointing to their credit cards. Credit cards, yeah. Because are you going to drive around without tires in your car? No. But if you consistently save and you have some sort of emergency fund, then it's easy for you to, draw something when those unexpected things happen. And somebody might ask that, look, the money I get in a month is not even enough to cover my bills. So how can I save? And that's another chapter in the book that I talk about, savings controls. And I wrote a story in the book of when I lived in New Jersey. I just finished grad school and I was determined to buy a house. I moved to Jersey June 2003 after grad school, and I said, I'm going to save $1,600 every month. I wasn't earning a lot, but I was like, this is how much it's going to take me to, buy a house in 1 year's time. And I was doing that. It was working out. Except that in June 2004, when I wanted to buy the house, I had no money in my savings account. Does anybody know what happened? I spent it. I almost died of shock. And I thought I've been depriving myself every single month. And this is what happens. So how can you not end up in that situation where I was? Who knows? We're going to get to this budgeting. Yes, we are. But I was budgeting my savings too. Invest? Good idea. What if I don't invest and I want to save the money I put into that bank account? What can I do? What did I do wrong?
Online banking.
Yes, well, how would you draw your savings when you need the money?
Put in a
Maybe
different bank.
fixed deposit.
Good. That's one of the things I came up with. I sat down and after scolding myself, I said, you know what? First of all, you have to have savings controls. The biggest barrier to you saving money in this life is you. I'm the biggest enemy to myself when it comes to saving money. Because it's mine. I can go get it. So now this is what I do. I put my money in the savings account and I don't have any debit cards for it. I don't have any checkbooks for it. I don't have any documents. I don't even know the account number. I don't. And I do it directly from my paycheck. And I have it in a credit union in DC, and I live in Baltimore. So it means that if I wanted to do something with that money on a Saturday, I'm going to come all the way to DC. Because what happens if I'm looking at that money? I'm going to spend it. Meanwhile, it's supposed to be my cushion. And because when I get my paycheck every month, that money is not already included there, so I don't feel as bad. Honestly, as a human being, you're going to only spend what you have. If you constrain yourself enough, you will get used to it. And if you're red, you're probably thinking, that's living my life in boundaries. But the reason why you're red is probably because you don't want to establish some boundaries. So they have to be, you have to make sure that you create this nice boundaries, because eventually you're the one who's going to enjoy the money you're saving, hopefully. But if you don't let it grow, it's like, anybody plant flowers in their house? Yeah. So if you like flowers, when you put the seed in the ground, the only time you can get any nice flowers is if you allow it to grow, right? If you don't allow your savings to grow, and you keep plucking the seed from, under the ground, there's going to be no tree, there's going to be no shade, there's going to be nothing. So, that's where I talk in the book about savings controls, and I hope that, you can implement some of them and, gain from it. So now I also talk about budgeting. I see that he's been, very happy with the budgeting part. And budgeting is key. It's very important. Why do you have to, does anybody know why you should have a budget? The password is-
Tell your dollar where to go.
Tell your dollar where to go?
Yeah, tell your money where to go.
Okay. How about how you make, anybody else know why there should be a budget?
Because then you will find out how much you're gonna spend, how much you earn, how much you're gonna spend.
Okay, these are all good points. Has anybody ever been to a town or a place they didn't know? Like maybe you go to Baltimore City and you're from Virginia. Do you use a map or a GPS? Yeah? A budget is your map or a GPS. Every day, you're going to a place you don't know. You don't know what's coming tomorrow. You don't know, how much your daughter's school fees is going to be like next year. But